Stand by for the broadcast. Okay, stand by. Test on the audio. Get ready for the test of an emergency broadcast system, the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, what we tell. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, still time to call your friends. And you did call your friends, right? Well, you've got time to call your friends, all right? And after all, you want to know, and they want to know too. So let's have it happening on the Forbidden History series. Please note that this program is the sole and paramount copyright and intellectual property of Desert Owl and MFG. All rights reserved. No reproduction of this presentation is strictly prohibited without express consent of its author. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as medical nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History and the Great Lies of History, prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the RealPublicRadio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way twice a day now, 7 days a week on the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network, and YouTube.com, and you do a search for us by going 4 words, The Forbidden History Series, now at 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Eastern time every day, and then at 8 p.m. Eastern time in the evening. So we got morning and evening well, we've got too many bases to cover, don't we? Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. You did tell your friends, didn't you? Thank you very much. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. And welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Desert Owl, and I've made some wonderful friends over the last week and several weeks. I've been broadcasting today. It's program number 7 of the evening broadcasting, so I've just gone around one cycle, and it's been rather fun. And hello, Diane, good to have you. And I was just doing a little bit of the review on the programming from last night, and you said you had to go. It was 2 a.m. where you are, and so that must mean you're in Europe. So I don't remember if you had told where you were. We've got a listener in Germany, Ireland. Where you at? England, Scotland, or what? 2 a.m. over there when it's 10 over here. That's 4 hours. I think you're right on the left coast of Europe, right? 1 a.m. there right now. Okay. Well, anyway, love to hear where you're at. It's fun to realize we've got an international audience right out the gate with some wonderful friends. We got them in Brazil now. We got Australia. We've got Germany. We've got Ireland, and no telling where else. So good to have you. So there's an old quote. Is that maybe you're in the UK? Okay, very good. And there is a quote that has been bandied around every now and then, like a lot of those other classics, and it says that if somebody repeats a lie long enough, it ultimately becomes the truth. And Prospero, good to have you, sir. Okay, welcome aboard. And so if somebody repeats the truth long enough, then it all of a sudden becomes accepted as fact. Like, yeah, didn't you know that? Man, I was listening to television. I know it's true because I heard it on television. Man, it's got to be true, right? They told us on the news. Yeah, And so life is an enigma, because the hardest thing when we were raised with their media, right, their television, their cartoons. Remember those cartoons that, I think they had better cartoons in the UK than we did over here in the States. I remember when I had my family at the time, and we were watching I don't know. They had this kind of like a puppet program with weasels, and I can't remember, but it was so different than our cartoons over here. Like it was about a moral. They tell a moral or an ethical story. And but over here, our cartoons, right out the gate, we see these cartoon characters beating each other over the head with 2x4s or shooting each other. Then after they do all that, then they come up from the dead again, and they're never getting hurt. And they pretty well primed us for wanting to punch each other in the nose and to join the military, where we can really shoot some people with machine guns, and beat them over the head. So it's an interesting age when we've been primed in a negative way. When I was reading this morning, talking about how Mary, the mother of Yeshua, she was 14 years old, 14 years old when she married, and Yeshua was 14 years old when he left Jerusalem and went to in the caravan with Ravana, who became his patron and protector, took him to India. Yeshua was 14 years old. So in Israel, they became adults, young adults at age 14 and could get married. Isn't that amazing? They right from day one, they taught them that they were a sacred being, that they were of a divine order, and that they, were to teach each other with the greatest respect and love, and to study the scriptures of the one who made all things. They were at the center vortex. That was known as the center of the earth. You see, the center of the earth. That was Jerusalem. Okay, and so that was well known as the place that only recognized the one deity, the one Elohim. And so I developed a saying, at one point in my journey and when I was doing broadcasting, and it was because I had heard so many things that people follow, and it just really amazed me. Even some of my friends, my regular circle, which is a small one, but it's still, I have a circle of about a dozen friends, and to hear some of the things that they follow, and the things that they say, it's just, I'm overwhelmed. And I don't say anything. I love them. I'm not. If they, listen in, they want to tune in, then they can get the other side of the story. But I'm not going to beat anybody over the head. I hope that somehow they get inspired and and can see. But my statement became, because I have been on my knees all my life. I'm not saying I've been perfect before Yeshua. I have failed over and over in my struggle to overcome the self and to overcome the serpent and the flesh. The struggle in this world, the oppression, especially when you've been persecuted, and and all the things that happen to you in life. So, but my classic statement was, because I knew what was happening to me in the vision that I was given, and it is this: that the one who made all things is the one who reveals all things. Okay, go figure. He's my tree of knowledge. So one has to surrender. That's soul, S-O-L, render, meaning render to the light. You have to render to the light. That's soul render, and to be willing to go where you never thought you would go, and be willing to hear and study the things that you thought you would never pursue. It's leaving this world is what it is. It's a process. It is the center of the world. Europe, Mideast, Asia, and Russia, Africa all spoke out from there. Right. They spoke out. Very good. Good way to put it. That was the Asia Minor. And most people don't get that picture. Asia Minor. Well, what is the menorah? The menorah is the menorah. It's the light. The Asia Minor. It means the light of Asia. Okay. And that's the royal A. Asia is the royal A. There's symbolism there. And I got to talk more about the A coming up, but not today. I've got some interesting things. I'm trying to develop my broadcast, to have it flow and not in a certain order, because I have a lot of area to cover. You notice that, and I've been having like 4 segments this week, and so I realized I got to take some of it off, and I pulled it to the morning. Okay, that way I don't encumber too much at one time, and I can stay focused on the some primary stuff. So I'm getting my rhythm, and so thank the Father above for that. But I'm going to be doing the big feature tonight after what I do with 2 preliminary introductions on 2 topics. I've got the New Testament Apocrypha, 2 volumes. Okay, came out of Germany. Henneke and Schneemekler. Melker. Schneemelker. Okay, there you go. Henneke and Schneemelker. That's German if there ever was, huh? New Testament Apocrypha, 2 volumes. Big work. I've had it for, 30, 35 years, I guess, and been reading it from cover to cover, and amazing. You do have a lot to cover. Thank you, Prosper. You better believe it, brother. So I'm going to read in there. Remember, I told you that Kefe, Peter, his name never was Peter. I'll go over it again when we get there. But he wrote volumes. Okay, he wrote volumes, and you're gonna hear it in his own words what they were doing to his writings. Okay, he's wrote his letter to James, to Yaakov. All right, so you're gonna hear what they didn't want you to hear. How come these $50,000, $100,000 a year preachers don't read these things at the pulpit? Huh? They can't. They're not allowed to, right? They got to follow the higher echelon of their corporation, otherwise, so what happened to freedom? What happened to free thinking? What happened to um, recognizing the truth that the greatest story ever told was not the smallest collection of writings in the history of mankind of a spiritual tradition, the smallest being 27 teeny weeny little letters, that actually our tradition had a library, and there were monastic settings in different parts of the world that were doing their own writing by the inspiration of the great Spirit of light, the Holy Spirit, the great breath of the wind and fire. You see, you hear me using terminology that you don't read anywhere, because that's what they stole from us. It's called the original thought, so we're breathing here, okay, for as long as we can, and it's to me it's so exciting, to have a revelation and to see something that it's like been right in front of you all your life, and you didn't see it until all of a sudden Yeshua pulls the veil away, and whoa, how did I miss this one? Just like the word. Okay, so I discovered at one point. I'm going to lead into a little story here, because it's leading into the next part of the program. And oh, by the way, let me just give you the call in, because you're welcome to call in, and if you have a comment or a question, I can digress for a moment, and we can do that. Okay. So number one, the call in number, and I do want to test my audio system again. No hurry. If you want to wait till halfway through the program, that's fine. However you're inspired, that's really, I want to be here for you, just like you're here for me, and you folks are providing me the fuel, because I'm motivated. If there was nobody here to talk to, I wouldn't be motivated, okay? But I've got some wonderful friends that are hanging in there with me. So the call-in number is 608-566-7295. After all, where are you going to get this stuff anyway, right? I mean, come on, you don't get it anywhere else. So 608-566-7295. If you have a question, comment, observation, love to hear from you. I want a caller-generated program. That's really my goal, is to have friends calling in and to answer questions. And where did my phone go anyway? Wait a minute. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. Okay, let me put it over here by the microphone. So, because I figured out I was doing it wrong the other day. Then the Skype, if you want to call in on Skype. Okay, Free America Radio, all one word, Free America Radio, radio check. And so you can do questions on